A router edge guide. It sounds mystical, guys. But what happens if you have a router like this? And now you have no edge guide. Let me see what I can do about this. So what I need is 2 bolts with knobs and a washer, scrap piece of wood, piece of 1/4 inch plyboard, and of course the router. First thing I gotta do, I gotta remove the base plate. So let me get a screwdriver, get it pulled off. Now I wanted this guide to be the exact same width as the base of the router. The easiest way for me to do that is just use the base that I removed from the router. So I did that, and I set my fence up using that, and then after I had that distance set, I just ripped my piece of plywood to that width. With the plywood cut, I used the base plate as the template to lay out for all the bolt locations. Now I need to create an opening for the router bit to pass through. The easiest way to do that is just use a Forstner bit. And I want that hole that I drill with that Forstner bit to be dead center. Okay? The easiest way to find that is I've already put the marks on here for where the bolt holes go to attach this back to the router. And I did that using the base plate. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ruler and in a crisscross pattern, laying it across them, and a pencil, just draw a line. One direction, the other direction, and that creates my X for right where I need to drill that hole. Easy peasy, guys. Now with my mighty little drill press, I used a Forstner bit to drill a hole that's going to create the opening for the router bit to pass through. And then I put a brad point bit in it, and I drilled all the holes that'll accept the screws to attach this guide back onto the router when I get it built. Now with that done, I went over to my bandsaw, and what I did was I cut the corners off, and then using my oscillating sander, I smoothed it all out so it's a nice round edge. So there's no sharp edges there to catch on anything when you're using this jig. Now the last thing to do was I needed to create 2 track openings, and what this is going to be for is to adjust the fence, right? The distance, whether it's 6 inches away from the edge or 1 inch away from the edge, whatever it is. And the easiest way to do this is just a couple of plunge cuts on my router table, and this made extremely quick work of this. Now with my plunge cuts done, all that's left, attached fence. Easiest way to do this, I'm just going to lay the fence on my bench, lay the base right on top of it. Using my pencil, I'm just going to mark where those plunge cuts are going across that fence. Giving me 2 marks. Really easy. So now I go back to the drill press, drill those out. Now back at my drill press, I drilled the 2 holes that'll hold the retaining bolts that'll attach this fence to the jig. Now with that done, it's ready to assemble. So the first thing I did was I attached the base of this jig to the router. Now when I did this, I used the original screws that were used to attach the original base plate when I took it off. So save those screws because you're going to need them for this. Now with that attached, it was just a matter of putting the fence on. And this is easy. The bolt goes through the bottom, and then a washer, and then the knob screws on. But this makes for really nice, easy adjustment. You know, whether you want to go 1 inch, 6 inches, wherever you want to adjust it, it's just a matter of loosening those knobs and giving the fence a slide towards the router, away from the router. But it works really nice and smooth. a really simple router edge guide. Fully adjustable. Doesn't get any easier than that. I'm out of here, guys. We will see you next Friday. If you haven't had a chance, take a second, subscribe to my channel. Make sure you give it a like. Make sure you give me a follow. Hit me up on social media. Guys, get out of your shop. Build something awesome. We'll see you next Friday.